Welcome to Unmuzzled Chat. Now, I wasn't gonna create content tonight. I was doing a lot of marketing, a lot of behind the scenes work, and I got motivated because personal relations, people in my life, I just started hearing excuses from, and we'll keep anonymity out of respect. But some very close people in my life, men, excusing themselves and their behaviors and the lack of taking action, not challenging that person in the mirror. I can't say at all. Obviously, that individual's doing some things, and I'm sure good things, but not enough. It's like, if we haven't put in the right amount of time to actually understand what is going on and the threats actually happening, then it's easy for us to do. So I just kind of want to challenge us all to do our homework, because they tried to murder us and our loved ones, and they're still trying to do all that. They're trying to take our freedoms, our ability of free speech they're trying to take away our ability to even obtain this information. And that's what, it's hard to keep up on everything, but I believe that to be one of the great threats with what's happening with TikTok. If it's not about freaking China, they have our data through the plethora of apps, and we agree to all this. We have no privacy, and that's no secret. Man, it's distracting. I could see the video fluctuating in tones. Golly, so much to do. But where to even begin? We must start holding ourselves accountable and not lying to ourselves. Fifth generation warfare undoubtedly is here. And it's not just through trying to kill us through vaccines and murderous, hospital protocols in a pandemic. They're poisoning our food. They're poisoning our water. They're poisoning our air. The financial system is against us. Our government's being used against us. And are we just going to sit back and take it? We can't excuse that away, folks. We can't. More than ever, it's going to take getting involved and learning, and everyone doing their part and challenging ourselves to do more each and every day and not excuse it away. It's wild with the video uploaded just recently, that whole LGBTQ Alphabet Mafia video. I did an exclusive clip because no way I was going to be able to upload that to Nazi YouTube without infringing upon their Nazi regime's guidelines. And so I did an exclusive clip, uploaded it, and with the imagery, the same imagery and title, no views. I've personally viewed it a few times. It only takes like 30 seconds of view time on a specific episode to get that view. I've known this for a while regarding YouTube, just, doing the behind the scene work. I was curious. Does it take someone to watch the full video? Like, it's a valid question, because that could influence how we create content here to ensure things grow. But it's wild. I could view this one next to it, and within 30 seconds, boom, it'll get that view. additional view, but not on this one. No views. So there's shadow banning. So even if technically I'm not infringing upon their community guidelines and using their hot words, they're still selectively making things. So I guess, note to self, I'm going to have a friend pull up this channel on YouTube and even see if it's available, or if it's just, suppressing it in that way, or just not allowing it to gain any type of traction. Obviously, we just want the YouTubers to come over to free speech platforms so they're not manipulated. This is just so dangerous, folks. It's going to take all of us. That's where I'm just trying to, through this experience I just had, somehow just articulate it to where, wow, yeah, it is. I just want to fight that much harder. When people in my life, it's like, okay, well, I got to fight on behalf of that person now too. And with these type of things, so TikTok, by the way, and it's on all these crazy platforms. And I believe Facebook is now complying to a degree, and YouTube is chillaxed to an extent with because they're pushing the envelope as hard as they can, without major resistance. They're still censoring as hard as they can, given this mass awakening that's taken place, and given that there's alternate sources we can go to. But if effectively they ban TikTok due to this whole Chinese whatever threat they want to make it up to be, that is scary as heck, because things could go either way. It could end up a really good thing because Rumble has offered to buy out TikTok here in America, and that would be a huge win. But then again, it could be a huge scary thing, because if in fact that under the same rules that they ban the TikTok, they could now move that towards True Social, Rumble, Telegram, Getter, and we could lose all these other free speech sources. And just you watch what would happen if that day were to arise. Facebook and YouTube would go on a tyranny spree, a censorship spree. And that is so freaking dangerous. They could take out God if they wanted, suppress all that. That is scary. But on TikTok, I did an episode, or just a clip, where, I could even pull it up, but it's wild, because I was mentioning how the alphabet mafia is coming for children, and I quoted in the Bible how, kind of just expressing God's love for the innocent children, and that you'd be better off with a millstone tied around your neck and dropped in the depths of the sea, versus hurting or tripping up any of the littles, any of, his children. And it's wild, because that clip ended up being deemed hateful ideology, infringed on their community regime's guidelines, biblical doctrine. Now, I wanted to be sure, and so I snipped out, kept everything else the same, but snipped out just the biblical reference, and they censored God's word, because to date that post is still active. That didn't infringe on their Nazi regime. So they're censoring specifically God's word, and that is extremely dangerous. It just blows my mind. Under hateful ideology, it's like, what? We're talking exclusively about people that would prey on children. To allow that. So the very act they did is more hateful and destructive. It's just, whoa. Tyranny is not good, folks. We need you. We need to move more strongly in the right directions. I don't know if you could tell, I'm in a way. I've been personally very challenged with the finances behind this protocol, everything. You know, I'm done talking about it, to be honest. As much as I need your support, even with that, it's just like, I get we all have our trials and struggles. I just pray enough of us don't get impacted like to this extent, because it's so freaking hard. All right, with that, let's just jump into this clip here. Listen to this gal explain real American history.
Well, no one controls you, and no one controlled me. However, you're right. The country has been invaded. We are under a foreign invasion, and it's important people understand this. So let's talk a little bit of history. It wasn't until we pulled back the curtain on the wizard and saw him react that we got to go a deeper dive. And in fact, at that time, I really had to pull back because I had to learn more. We had to learn more about common law and trust law. So imagine you have 3 law forms, and they only taught us one to keep us stupid. They taught us maritime. So all of the courts right now in America are maritime. They're administrative tribunals. They're actually trafficking you in every single court case. They're opening bonds in your name. They are money changers. Okay, so let's talk basic history. I'm going to go fast on this. 1776, we signed our Declaration of Independence. But only 7 years after that, that's when the deep state came in and they formed the District of Columbia right next door. Because every time you run in a republic, bringing God's kingdom, the devil has to roll in a counterfeit to confuse the people. Because a republic to the deep state is a very big threat. Because they know we live in a consciousness reality. And so long as they can take our attention, they can take our freedom. So long as they can give us benefits and get us locked into a system that we're dependent on, they can take our freedom. So I'll tell you how they did it. They usurped our entire country. We think we live in the land of the free, home of the brave. No, we are not free here. What they did was they rolled in their corporation and they started ruling over us at the corporate level. But at the time, each of the forefathers had established their own republics within each state. So each state was its own sovereign nation. Think of Europe. It was its own country. Each state had its own constitution and its own republic. The constitution was the trust indenture. It's the rules by which the public officials, the public servants, the trustees, have to uphold the rules and obligations of the Constitution. But what happened in 1871 is that they rolled in, because all wars are banker wars, so it's all controlled by the 1% global elite. They funded both sides of the war, and they created a civil war. And during that time, they bullied out all of our members of our republics and all of the 35 states that had formed republics at the time in 1871. So you had a governor, a lieutenant governor, secretary of state, a treasurer, House and Senate for every single state. All of them vacated. And when they came back 7 years later, they came back as a corporation. So they changed the foundation of our country. And all they can do is lure your attention over here, because the key word there is vacated. Those republics are still standing because a trust cannot fail for lack of a trustee. Trusts never die. That's why when Trump restored the republic at the national level, now remember, we only formed a union to protect against foreign invasion. So we had only given power to the union to protect us against foreign invasion. Because what would happen if Great Britain came and took over Delaware, and then we're all screwed? Does that make sense? We had to protect all the states in the union. So they were just wrapped in a bubble. But see, Trump has limited power. Even if he restored the republic, he's limited power. So what I want everyone to realize is that you're now looking at 2 governments. You have 2 governments running. You have a de facto, which means fake, non-fact, de facto, devoid of fact. Fake, phony, false corporatocracy running your government. They're not even your government. They're just luring your attention. You never had a vote, guys.
Wow.
Well,
I don't know. I'm feeling really lost in my own head right now. Do I even play this other? I mean, disclaimer. I know he uses some 4-letter words, but just a short little clip. But it is insane how much poison they're using in food. The simple fact that they've now successfully engineered vaccines and medical stuff into our food, like bioengineering. In fact, there's so many products in a grocery store, way more than you're guaranteed aware of. And there's also proof that a lot of the products that have levels of bioengineering to them, they're not even required to even label. So many of the products that also are part of bioengineering don't even indicate that. Guys, this is freaky stuff. Like, but it's all opportunity, because this gives exposure to everything so we can ensure our health, like futuristically, from everything, the medical, industrial complex, to food production, everything. But
is it me, or is it fucking crazy we have to pay extra to not have poison?
It's crazy. It shouldn't even be a thing.
Shit. Why do the same foods in America have over 10 more ingredients than the same exact thing in Europe?
Great question.
We are living in a poison planet.
Yes.
90% of the shit in grocery stores didn't even exist 90 years ago.
Yeah.
And neither did 90% of the diseases. Just 100 years ago, we didn't need organic labels on food because it was just called food.
Right.
You're not crazy if you spend an hour in the grocery store reading every single ingredient label.
True.
You're crazy if you don't.
Crazy if you don't.
Is it me, or is it fucking...
Great stuff. Guys, you gotta start caring about your health. We need the best version of you yesterday. Like, let's just not frick around anymore. I got people still reaching out to me on these line groups that are fed up. They can't see a way out. They're that ill. I mean, for me to get going every day, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like, it takes everything to get on my feet. It takes everything to fire up the engines. And then today, the gym was even almost rendered worthless because it was like the levels of nausea and pain I was feeling at the gym. But these people need your help. You need your help. The future you. With all of this happening, we're all deteriorating. Now, there's some mega breakthroughs, and I don't mean to be all doom and gloom here, because tomorrow we're planning on having a very exciting guest on that is bringing some pretty groundbreaking words, James. Groundbreaking products that can help. Like, we're going to go dive into the PEMF mats, PEMFs. And apparently this particular one is outperforming all the others. And I'm just very excited. I'm very hopeful. So lots to look forward to. But we got to start being honest with ourselves. And I don't have time for people in my life to just sit here and give me a bunch of freaking BS and excuses. Yeah, we can't afford that anymore, folks. We just can't. All right, well, I swears I'll do better. We'll have more awesome content. But it's just wild. Frick, even a while back, I mean, what an uphill battle. Even on a dating app, that Hinge one or whatnot, like, I even got banned from that to this day. Banned. Probably did me a favor. Rather meet people in real life. But for standing my ground, I think it was over a he-she comment. Or she-her. Where someone was using pronouns and I did a beautiful compliment. Just like, hey, well, you're quite a beautiful gal. Like, doesn't it go without saying the whole she-her? Like, just trying to get to know someone. So it's a genuine question. And boom, figure dropped off. Next thing you know, I get an alert. I'm banned. And it was, what? It was just a question. I appeal. I try to even get the answers. They won't even give the answers. I'm like, well, okay, your loss. Luckily, there's a lot of other ones out there, like, to use that I'm really not on because got better things to do with my time. But we got to stand our ground. We can't be afraid to lose accounts, because we should be supporting the alternate economy and other options that are available anyways. Well, guys, special thanks to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for supporting this platform and joining us on this journey. So many amazing conversations to come. And if you want to be a part, if you want to sit in this chair, email us at unmuzzledchat@gmail.com. God bless you all. Look forward to chatting soon.